So the question sort of becomes, where are the green consumers? Finally, the answer is we're everywhere. The problem is we're not all the same green consumer. We're all experiencing this at different times, almost down to the different times of the day. We're different types of green consumers.
So if we look at let's just pick a cast of characters. And even in this, it's not so much we think a demographic as maybe a mindset. This certainly isn't representative of this particular group, but we're trying to make a point, so work with us on this. So when we were doing some of the research, what we heard from some of the boomer women is, you know, I remember to take my reusable bags to the grocery store. Big commitment there. I tend to be well educated and affluent. Give me a free trial. Both things came out of the same mouth at the same time. I'm concerned about chemicals on my skin. The environment's important to me, and I believe natural and organic are better, and I'm willing to pay a premium. So then we look at the next mindset, if you will. So let's look at some of the moms with young children. Well, interested in green products, tend to be educated and middle income. I care about health and safety, but I care about saving money and working within a budget. So that's really important to me. And then the third example, younger males, I tend to be well educated, have a middle income. It's important to reduce energy consumption. I'm concerned about toxins and chemicals. Somewhat interested in green homes, primarily to save money. And I tend to be politically active. So those are just 3 examples of a segment or a mindset that we might start looking at.
And these segmentations were done in conjunction with the Shelton Group, and they're actually speaking later today. And we encourage you to get a little bit deeper drill into some of the insights that they have into these. So let's get a level ground here, and let's understand and agree that we're all along different points of the green spectrum, right? I don't think that there's any argument with that. The empirical data backs that up. The psychographic data backs that up, that we were all along a different place within the spectrum. The problem is there's not just one spectrum. That I could be very green, let's just use the term green, in food, but less so in health and beauty, clearly. It's just not a priority. Baby products, I may be hyper green in that terms, but maybe not so in pets. And so even within a single person, right, there are different levels of engagement within different categories and different attitudes. Those are snapshots. So the problem with snapshots is they let us believe in flying horses. When I am buying lunch with my colleagues, right, I am a very different shopper than when I'm making my daughter Jane's lunch in the morning, okay? So that's what we have to contend with. We have to deal with millions of different consumers that are each different types of shoppers at different points during the day. Demographics work at a certain level, but when we need to get to that, how are we going to get you in the front row to make one choice, to make that step? I don't even know where you're starting.
So what do they want? We should be able to figure that out, right? So let's see.
So this is easy.
Oh, where do I start? I want to know where to start.
Help me make my own decisions.
But make it easy.
Help me try new products.
Let me decide what's important to me.
I want to design my own incentives.
Help me validate your claims. Help me try new products.
Yeah, don't market to me, by the way, right? So this sounds really easy, right? Right? All right. So well,
good luck with
that. Yeah, yeah.
And I'd like to say we'd like to thank you all for coming
thanks.
today.
Yeah. Have a good rest. Alohas. So what do? How are we going to do this? Well, we can look back a little bit, and I think Malcolm Gladwell does a great version of this story, talking about tomato sauce. And several years ago, they were trying to figure out what's the tomato sauce that will sell the most. You know, what's the perfect? You know, there's this concept of the perfect, right? And there's multiple perfects. So what's the perfect tomato sauce? They did focus groups. They added more salt. They took out oregano. They added chunky. They added special spices. They took in meat. They took out meat. What they found out was that there is no one tomato sauce. There are hundreds of tomato sauce. And some of you may remember that moment where we went to one jar or flavor of ragu, right, to all of a sudden you've got garden variety, chunky garden variety, Hispanic chunky garden variety. You've got all these different varieties of tomato sauce because they realize that there is no perfect, and that we're all trying to engage these things at different levels, and that's the challenge.
So my sustainability is not your sustainability. So what would a solution look like that would look something more like this? Well, we need to allow the individuals to define sustainability on their terms. So find their own EcoBonus, if you will. Well, what would that look like? Well, the answer is really their answer, and your answer, and my answer. It is, how do we provide information, a vehicle to engage, to sample, to get involved, to share with my friends, to get incented, all in under one rooftop, because as what we heard was, I don't have a lot of time, make it easy and sent me what's in it for me, and I want the information, I want it now. So that's really kind of the ultimate challenge. And what we're doing with EcoBonus is we're building a platform that's going to allow coalition partners to come together to provide that kind of information for the consumer. And these coalition partners will include not only manufacturers and retailers, but third-party certifiers and charities, and you name it, and we'll get into that in a minute.
So the design challenge here is not only do we not know what the answer is, but we don't have any clue what the question is that these people need to ask to make the next step. And by the way, we need to address them on their own terms, that list of confusing things that we showed earlier. So this is one way to approach the problem.
So if we go back to one of our consumers, you know, what we heard when we were sitting in the focus groups and doing the research is one woman, and it really impacted me, she said, I don't even know what I don't know. I wouldn't even know where to find a particular product, much less know if it's better. And then if I found it, then, you know, I'd kind of like to sample it, but then I don't even know where to shop. And then how do I know it's really valid? Well, what's valid? Well, what's valid to me might be I'm a new mom, or my pet, or office supplies. So where do I start? Create that vehicle for me. Let me decide what's important to me, and absolutely let me validate your claims. And part of it is consumers say, well, what's green? Well, what is green? And for the consumers, what we're hearing is they're saying, let me, based on what I care about, plug into a category and look at what those eco attributes are, and then let me make my own decision for what I support. And so really then the next leg of this is, remember we talked about some of the mom's feedback was help me make my own decisions, but I want to design my own incentives. Maybe I want to accumulate my points and I want it with my school get an organic vending machine. Or maybe I want to use those to get more product at retail. Or maybe I want to, there's some charities and some social groups that I want to get involved in. But help me try new products and help me work within my budget.
So imagine if you could, if you were a consumer and you went to a website and there was there wasn't a buy one get one program, but there was a buy one give one program, and so you bought a ream of paper, but you got to decide that you were going to donate it to a specific teacher at a specific school, right? That's the type of decision engine that this opportunity creates. So there's a universality in this. I mean, the operative word is definitely coalition. We need to bring in all the right partners. We need to bring in charity partners and volunteers, and we need to bring in the data into this really complex system, and yet still make it very easy to engage in from a consumer perspective.
And then I also think, make it fun.
Right.
One of the things that we've done over the years in promotion is get people excited. When you watch the Super Bowl, the sweepstakes where you can text in an instant win and you're excited. I used to work on some of those. Well, let's leverage some of that activity to engage people to get involved and create more and more of those trigger points for the consumer. So where else could we find our EcoBonus? Well, the possibilities are really endless if you think about it. Perhaps in nature, we could find our EcoBonus in our grocery store. We get grocery partners, we get Whole Foods or some of these leaders in the space. What about, if I choose to take the bus, can I find my EcoBonus in alternative transportation? Because it's not just about purchases, it's about making the right decisions in our lives as well. And then finally, find the EcoBonus where I live. It needs to be social, it needs to reside where I'm at and how I share with my friends. Choice, once again, equals relevance. The choice equals relevance is far more important and relevant, if you will, than it was for Gladys. And the difference is, too, Gladys was a huge supporter of trade snags. We didn't know who she was. And we need to know, if we're going to engage and help and offer value, who that consumer is. So that's another big piece of this positioning here in the engine.